Hey theorists, welcome back to another deep dive into history, but with a twist. Today we're diving deep into one of history's biggest and most brutal conflicts, World War I. But forget everything your history books told you because we're not just recounting events, instead we're analyzing this war through the lens of gaming. Imagine Europe in the early 1900s as a massive multiplayer lobby. Picture it, a vast, interconnected world where every nation is a player, each with its own strategies and objectives. Everyone's strutting around showing off their shiny new armies and flexing their industrial muscles. It's like a pre-game lobby where players are customizing their loadouts. Nationalism is running high, think of it as everyone picking their favorite character skins and spamming emotes. The pride and fervor are palpable. But like any good game, there's tension brewing beneath the surface. Alliances are fragile, and rivalries are intense. Everyone's itching for a fight, and all it takes is one wrong move, one misstep to set off a chain reaction, and boy was there a wrong move. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand was like a match to a powder keg. When Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, gets assassinated in Sarajevo, it's like someone just chucked a grenade into the middle of the lobby. The explosion of tensions was immediate. Suddenly everyone's drawing weapons, alliances are solidified, and the game world explodes into chaos. The war that follows is unlike anything the world has seen before. Trenches, gas attacks, and brutal battles define this conflict. Welcome to World War I, folks, where the stakes are high, the battles are brutal, and the strategies are complex. The consequences of this war are far-reaching, changing the political landscape of the world forever. So, gear up and get ready, because this is one game you won't forget. So the match has begun, and just like in any team-based game, the first step is picking your team. This is where alliances come into play, and they are crucial. Before the fighting even starts, the groundwork is laid out. Alliances are like the backbone of your strategy. They determine who you can rely on and who you need to watch out for. In the context of World War I, these alliances were already forming long before the first shot was fired. Europe was divided into two main factions, the Central Powers and the Allied Powers. This division was not just a matter of convenience, but a result of years of political maneuvering and strategic planning. The Central Powers, led by Germany and Austria-Hungary, were a formidable force. Germany in particular had a powerful industry and a well-trained army, making it a key player in this alliance. On the other side, the Allied powers had France, Britain, and Russia as their heavy hitters. Each of these nations brought unique strengths to the table, creating a balanced and robust alliance. Think of it like choosing your loadout in a game. Each nation had its own strengths and weaknesses. Germany, with its powerful industry and well-trained army, is like the player who went all in on attack power. Germany's industrial might meant it could produce weapons and supplies at an astonishing rate, while its disciplined army was ready to execute complex strategies. France and Britain, on the other hand, were more balanced. They had strong economies and seasoned militaries, making them versatile and reliable allies. Russia brought sheer numbers to the table. Its massive army could overwhelm opponents with brute force, but it also had its own set of challenges, like logistical issues and internal strife. But here's the catch. These alliances weren't set in stone. They could shift and change depending on the tides of war, adding an extra layer of strategy and unpredictability to the game. Just like in a game where you can switch sides mid-match, these alliances could make or break a team's chances of victory. The dynamic nature of these relationships meant that both sides had to constantly adapt and re-strategize. It's like those games where you can switch sides mid-match. Alliances can make or break a team's chances of victory. The fluidity of these alliances added a layer of complexity that made the war unpredictable and ever-changing. And in this game of global domination, the stakes couldn't be higher. Every decision, every alliance, and every strategy could tip the balance of power, making it a high-stakes game of strategy and survival. Germany, eager to assert its dominance, attempts a classic speedrun strategy known as the Schlieffen Plan. Their goal, knock out France quickly by sweeping through neutral Belgium, then pivot east to deal with Russia. It's a risky move, kind of like rushing an enemy base early in the game hoping to catch them off guard. At first it seems like the plan might actually work. German forces make significant advances pushing deep into French territory, but the Allies hold strong, pushing back against the German onslaught. The speed run fails. Both sides dig in, constructing elaborate trench systems that stretch for miles. The Western Front becomes a brutal battleground where every inch of land is fiercely contested. And so begins the longest camping session in history: trench warfare. Imagine this, miles of muddy, rat-infested trenches separated by a desolate wasteland known as no man's land. Soldiers on both sides hunker down, enduring constant artillery bombardments, machine gun fire, and the ever-present threat of sniper attacks. It's a grim, attritional struggle where small victories come at a heavy cost. Think of it like those frustrating moments in a game where you're stuck in a seemingly unwinnable battle, desperately trying to hold your position against wave after wave of enemies. But unlike a game, there are no respawns here. Each casualty represents a real human life lost. The stalemate drags on for years, each side trying to break through but ultimately making little progress. Section 5. The American DLC Pay-to-Win or Game Changer. Now imagine you've been grinding away at this game for hours, and suddenly, a new player joins the server. This isn't just any player though, it's the United States, and they're here to drop some serious cash on in-game purchases. That's right, the USA, after staying neutral for the first few years of the war, joins the Allies in 1917. With their vast industrial might and seemingly endless supply of fresh troops, they're like the ultimate pay-to-win advantage. The influx of American soldiers and resources tips the scales in favor of the Allies. Germany, exhausted and depleted after years of fighting, is now facing a fresh and powerful opponent. Section 6. Rage Quit. Russia bows out, but at what cost? But while the Allies gain a powerful ally, the Central Powers suffer a major setback. Remember Russia, the team with the massive army? Well, they're dealing with their own problems back home. Internal strife, fueled by economic hardship and social unrest, culminates in the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917. The new communist government, eager to consolidate its power, decides to cut its losses and signs a separate peace treaty with Germany. It's the ultimate rage quit, leaving their former allies to fend for themselves. While this frees up German troops to focus on the Western Front, the damage is already done. Years of war have taken their toll and Germany is on its last legs. Section 7. The bugs in the system, unforeseen consequences. The war finally grinds to a halt in 1918. Germany, facing defeat on all fronts, agrees to an armistice. But the victory for the Allies comes at a staggering cost. Millions lie dead, entire cities are in ruins, and the social and political landscape of Europe is forever changed. But here's where the real glitch in the system comes in. The Treaty of Versailles, intended to ensure lasting peace, ends up sowing the seeds for future conflict. Germany is slapped with harsh penalties, forced to accept blame for the war, and crippled by crippling reparations. This creates resentment and instability, a breeding ground for extremism and nationalism that will have devastating consequences in the years to come. Section 8, Game Over, a treaty and a tense peace. The game is over but not really. The Treaty of Versailles, while attempting to create a new world order, fails to address the underlying issues that led to the war in the first place. Imagine it like a game developer patching a few bugs but ignoring the fundamental flaws in the game's design. It might seem okay for a while, but it's only a matter of time before those flaws lead to new and even more devastating problems. The world is left in a state of uneasy peace, forever scarred by the horrors of the Great War. And lurking in the shadows are the seeds of future conflict, waiting for the right moment to erupt once more. Section 9. Post-game analysis, seeds of future conflict. So what can we learn from this tragic gaming session? The parallels between our virtual experiences and real-world history are striking. By examining the strategies and decisions made in a game, we can gain insights into the complexities of historical events. World War I teaches us that even the most complex and devastating conflicts can be understood through the lens of gaming. The intricate web of alliances, the tactical maneuvers, and the sheer unpredictability of war are mirrored in the games we play. It highlights the importance of alliances, the risks and rewards of different strategies, and the often unforeseen consequences of our actions. In both gaming and real life, forming alliances can be a double-edged sword. They can provide support and strength, but they can also drag us into conflicts we never anticipated. But perhaps the most important lesson is this. In the real world, there are no reloads, no second chances. Every decision carries weight, and the outcomes are permanent. The frustration of losing a game is nothing compared to the real-life consequences faced by soldiers and civilians during wartime. The choices we make, both individually and collectively, have lasting impacts that can resonate for generations to come. The echoes of World War I are still felt today, in the stories passed down through families, in the memorials that stand in cities and towns, and in the lessons we continue to learn. As we remember the millions who fought and died in the Great War, let us strive to learn from the mistakes of the past, and work towards a future where such conflicts are nothing more than a distant memory. The sacrifices made by those who came before us should inspire us to seek peace and understanding in our own time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into history's biggest gaming moments. Until next time, theorists, your support helps us continue to explore the fascinating intersections between gaming and history.